The scent of stale bread and boiled cabbage clings to my clothes, a constant reminder of my place. Here, in the cavernous kitchens of the Blood Moon Pack, I am Ilara, the wolfless Omega, a ghost who polishes silver that will never be used by her hands, who chops vegetables for feasts she will never attend. My world is one of steam and shadows, of bowed heads and averted eyes. I am a flaw in the fabric of our pack, a shifter, born without a wolf. My inner world is silent, a hollow space where a beast should be. This silence makes the others uneasy. They smell my otherness, the faint, unnerving scent of ozone and stillness where the rich musk of a wolf should be. Today, however, a different scent cuts through the kitchen's fug. It is the raw, electric perfume of anticipation. The Alpha King, Kalen, returns from the Great Hunt. He has been gone for a month, solidifying treaties with the mountain clans, and now he comes home. The pack is thrumming, a living instrument tuned to the frequency of its alpha. Even down here, I feel it, a vibration in the stone floor that resonates in my bones. The head cook, a formidable she-wolf named Greta, barks orders, her voice rough with stress. Every surface must gleam, every morsel must be perfect for the king's return feast. Alara, the hearth, she growls without looking at me. More wood, and be quick about it. The king will want the chill of the journey burned away. I nod, my throat too tight to speak, and hurry to the woodpile just outside the kitchen door. The air is crisp, carrying the scent of pine from the deep woods and the first hint of winter snow. It is a scent of freedom I rarely get to breathe. I stack the logs in my arms, their rough bark scraping my skin. As I turn to go back inside, a wave of scent so powerful, so intoxicating, hits me like a physical blow. It is pine, yes, but deeper, richer, laced with the sharp, clean smell of a coming blizzard and something else, something uniquely him. It is the scent of power, of dominance, of pure, undiluted alpha. It is the scent of my mate. The logs tumble from my arms, scattering across the cobblestones. My knees feel weak. A dizzying, impossible hope blooms in my chest, so fierce it hurts. Mate. The word is a ghost on my tongue, a concept I was taught I would never know. Wolfless omegas do not find mates, especially not alpha mates. We are broken. We are voids. Yet my very soul recognizes him. It screams his name, though I do not know it. It reaches for him, a desperate, silent cry across the courtyard. Through the kitchen door, I see him. Alpha King Kalen strides into the great hall, flanked by his warriors. He is everything the pack whispers he is. Tall and powerfully built, with hair as black as a raven's wing, and eyes the color of storm clouds. He moves with a predator's grace, every line of his body radiating authority. The pack parts before him like the sea before a god. He stops, lifting his head, his nostrils flaring. His gaze sweeps the hall, over the bowing heads of his pack, and for one heart-stopping second, his eyes lock with mine through the open doorway. Time freezes. The cacophony of the kitchens fades to a dull roar. In his eyes, I see a flicker of shock, of raw, primal recognition. He smells it too. Pine and winter meet ozone and stillness. The impossible has happened. I see the war in his expression, the confusion battling the instinct. My breath catches in my throat. This single glance holds the promise of a life I never dared to dream of. A life of belonging, of being seen, of being whole. Mine, a voice whispers in the silent part of my soul. It is not a wolf's voice, but it is ancient and possessive, and it terrifies me with its certainty. The moment shatters. One of his betas leans in, murmuring something. Kalen's expression hardens. The brief flicker of recognition shuddered away behind a mask of cold duty. He turns his back on the kitchens, on me, and continues into the hall. The invisible thread that connected us snaps, leaving me gasping, the scent of him already fading, replaced by the familiar smell of wood smoke and disappointment. I gather the fallen logs, my hands shaking, and carry them back into the oppressive heat of the kitchen, the ghost of hope already turning to ash in my mouth. The feast is a symphony of noise and scent that filters down to us in the kitchens. The roar of laughter, the clatter of plates, the rich aroma of roasted boar and spiced wine. We, the unseen, work in a frantic silence, sending platter after platter up to the hall. Greta watches me with narrowed eyes. She saw the logs fall. She smelled the shift in the air. In her pitying gaze, I see my own foolishness reflected back at me. An hour into the revelry, a summons comes. A royal guard, his face impassive, stands at the kitchen entrance. The Alpha King requires the presence of the Omega, Alara. A collective gasp ripples through the kitchen staff. All eyes turn to me. Fear, cold and sharp, lances through me, but beneath it, that stubborn ember of hope rekindles. He is calling for me. He is going to acknowledge the bond. Perhaps in private, away from the prying eyes of the court. My heart hammers against my ribs, a frantic bird beating its wings against a cage. I wipe my sweaty palms on my apron, my worn leather tunic suddenly feeling coarse and shameful against my skin. Greta gives me a rough, almost gentle push. Go on, child. Do not keep the king waiting. I follow the guard through winding stone corridors, away from the warmth of the kitchens, and towards the heart of the keep. The sounds of the feast grow louder. The scent of my mate more potent with every step. He leads me not to a private chamber, but to the great oaken doors of the feast hall itself. He pulls one open, and the full force of the pack's energy washes over me. Hundreds of faces, flushed with wine and celebration, turn towards the door. The music falters. Laughter dies in throats. And there, at the head of a long, groaning table, sits King Kalen. He looks at me, and this time there is no confusion in his eyes. There is only ice. The air crackles with tension. He rises slowly from his throne-like chair, his sheer presence silencing the room. The scent of him is overwhelming now, a storm of power and authority that makes me want to drop to my knees. Approach, he commands, his voice a low rumble that vibrates through the floor. It is not an invitation. It is a sentence. I walk the longest path of my life, down the center of the great hall, past rows of curious, hostile eyes. The whispers start, slithering through the silence. The wolfless one. What does he want with her? An Omega? I keep my eyes fixed on him, the only solid thing in a swirling sea of judgment. I stop a respectful distance from the dais, my head bowed as is expected of my station. You were watching me, he states, his voice devoid of warmth. From the kitchens. I cannot speak. I can only nod, my heart threatening to claw its way out of my chest. My wolf, he continues, his voice dropping to a dangerous growl, sensed a connection, a mistake, an error of fate. He paces before the table, a caged predator. It tells me you are my mate. A wave of shock and disgust murmurs through the crowd. This is it, the public humiliation, the wound. My hope dies a final, brutal death. But I smell no wolf on you, he says, stopping directly in front of me. He leans down, his face inches from mine. I can feel the heat radiating from him, smell the pure, agonizing scent of him. I smell only the weakness of a human. I smell the rot of a broken line. My line is that of the first alphas. It is pure. It is strong. It will not be diluted by a wolfless, worthless omega. Each word is a hammer blow, shattering what little self-worth I possessed. Laughter, sharp and cruel, erupts from the tables. My cheeks burn with shame. I want the stone floor to swallow me whole. I, Alpha King Kalen of the Blood Moon Pack, he proclaims, his voice ringing with absolute authority, reject you, Ilara, as my mate and as a member of this pack. You are nothing to me. You are nothing to us. He straightens up, his eyes sweeping over his pack. Let this be a lesson. We tolerate no weakness. We are Blood Moon. We are power. He turns his back on me, a final damning dismissal. The bond, newly formed and fragile, shrieks in my soul. The pain is physical, a searing agony that rips through my chest, as if my heart is being torn in two. I gasp, stumbling backward, clutching my ribs. Get her out of my sight, Kalen commands over his shoulder. Two guards seize my arms, their grips bruising. They drag me from the hall, my feet scraping against the stone. The last thing I hear before the great doors slam shut is the roar of the pack's approval and the renewed sound of celebration, a joyous funeral dirge for my life. They drag me through the keep and out into the biting cold of the courtyard. They do not stop there. They haul me to the main gates and thrust me through them, out into the darkness. You are exiled, one of the guards spits, his face a mask of contempt. If you are found on Packlands by sunrise, you will be hunted as prey. The heavy gates boom shut, the sound of the lock sliding into place, sealing my fate. I am alone, cast out, with nothing but the thin tunic on my back and a shattered soul. The pain in my chest is a living thing, a clawed beast trying to rip its way out. A sob tears from my throat, raw and broken. The scent of pine and winter is gone, replaced by the cold, empty smell of the unforgiving wilderness. I have lost everything, including a future I only possessed for a single, fleeting heartbeat. I turn my back on the only home I have ever known and stumble into the whispering woods, not caring if I live or die. The forest floor is a treacherous carpet of roots and damp leaves. I fall, scrape my hands raw, and pull myself back up, driven by some primal instinct to simply move. The cold seeps into my bones, a deep, numbing chill that matches the emptiness inside me. The ache of the rejected bond is a constant throbbing torment, a phantom limb that burns with incessant pain. My wolfless silence has become a screaming void. Hours pass, or maybe days. I lose track, wandering aimlessly, my mind a merciful blank. I collapse at the base of an ancient oak, my body finally giving out. The world tilts and blurs. This is it then. Rock bottom. I will die here, alone and forgotten. A strange sense of peace settles over me. It is better than returning, better than seeing the pity or contempt in their eyes. As my vision darkens, a flicker of movement catches my eye. An old woman, her back bent with age and a heavy cloak pulled over her head, is gathering herbs nearby. She moves with a slow, deliberate grace, her gnarled fingers plucking leaves with surprising dexterity. She straightens up as if sensing my gaze and turns towards me. Her face is a roadmap of wrinkles, but her eyes are startlingly clear, the color of moss in deep shade. They hold a wisdom that feels ancient. She says nothing, simply watching me with an unnerving stillness. Are you real? I whisper, my voice a dry rasp. A small wry smile touches her lips. More real than the fools who threw you out, child. She shuffles closer, her footsteps surprisingly quiet on the forest floor. She kneels beside me, her presence radiating a strange, calming warmth. You are broken, but not beyond repair. She offers me a small leather flask. Drink. It will help with the pain. I hesitate, but the kindness in her eyes is something I haven't seen in years. I take the flask and drink. The liquid is bitter and tastes of earth, but it spreads a gentle heat through my veins, dulling the sharpest edges of the bond's agony. It doesn't erase it, but it makes it bearable. Who are you? I ask, my voice stronger now. My name is Lyra, she says simply, and I am much like you, an exile. She helps me to my feet, her grip surprisingly strong. Come, the forest is no place to mend a shattered heart. I have a home nearby. I have no reason to trust her, but I also have no reason not to. I have nothing left to lose. I let her lead me deeper into the woods, away from the lands of the Blood Moon Pack. My first small act of survival, a stubborn refusal to simply lie down and die. As we walk, I feel a faint stirring in that silent, hollow place inside me. It is not the growl of a wolf. It is something else, something quiet and ancient. And for the first time in my life, it feels less like an absence and more like a seed, dormant and waiting. 3 years later, the scent of boiling herbs is the perfume of my life. It has replaced the smell of stale bread and servitude. I live with Lyra in a small, secluded cottage so cleverly hidden by the forest's embrace that a hunting party could pass a dozen feet away and never see it. The years have transformed me. The hollow-eyed, starving girl who stumbled through the woods is gone. My body is strong from hauling water and chopping wood, my hands calloused but capable. My hair, once lank and dull, now hangs thick and long down my back. But the greatest change is one that cannot be seen. Lyra has been my teacher. She taught me the language of the forest, which roots heal, which leaves soothe, and which berries can kill. Every day, I prepare a special poultice for her, a complex mixture of moon petal, silver leaf, and a dozen other rare ingredients. She says it eases the ache in her old bones, a sickness that has settled deep within her. The process of creating it has become a ritual, a meditation. I've noticed something strange. When I crush the herbs, a faint, silvery light sometimes shimmers around my fingers. The plants seem to respond to my touch, offering up their properties more willingly. Lyra just smiles when I mention it, a knowing, secretive glint in her moss-green eyes. The pain of the broken bond remains, a dull, permanent ache in my soul. It is a scar now, no longer a gaping wound. Some nights, I still dream of storm cloud eyes and the scent of pine and winter. I wake with a gasp, the phantom pain sharp and fresh, and have to remind myself that Kalen and his world are a lifetime away. I am no longer that girl. I am Alara, the healer's apprentice, a woman who found a new purpose in the quiet solitude of the woods. I have built a life from the ashes of my rejection, a small, peaceful life that belongs only to me. One evening, as the sun bleeds through the canopy, Lyra calls me to her bedside. She has been growing weaker for weeks, the medicine I prepare providing less and less relief. Her breathing is shallow, her skin as pale as parchment. She gestures for me to sit, her hand trembling as she reaches for mine. "There is something I must tell you, Illyra," she says, her voice a frail whisper. "A truth I have kept hidden to protect you." I lean closer, my heart sinking with a familiar dread. Secrets have never brought me anything but pain. "I'm not just an exile," she confesses, her eyes holding mine. "I am Lyra, the Dowager Queen of the Blood Moon Pack. I am Kaelin's mother." The world stops. The air in the small cottage feels thick, unbreathable. Kaelin's mother, the woman whose son shattered my existence. I pull my hand back as if burned, a torrent of confusion and betrayal rising in my throat. I have been caring for the mother of my tormentor. "He does not know I am here," she says quickly, seeing the storm on my face. "He believes I died years ago, a victim of the same wasting sickness that now takes me. I left the pack when his father's cruelty became unbearable. I chose exile over a gilded cage." She coughs, a dry, rattling sound. "Kaelin, he was raised by his father, taught that power is everything, that any perceived weakness must be purged. He made a terrible mistake, Illyra, a mistake born of fear and pride, not malice." I want to scream at her, to rage about the injustice of it all. But looking at her frail, dying form, the anger gutters out, leaving only a profound sadness. "But that is not the most important truth," she continues, pushing a small, heavy object into my hand. It is a pendant, a smooth, dark stone set in tarnished silver, cool against my skin. "You are not wolfless, child. You are something far rarer, far more powerful. Your bloodline is that of the Lunar Witches, an ancient line of healers and protectors whose magic is tied to the moon itself. This magic suppresses the wolf gene, making it appear as though you are broken. But you are not broken, Illyra. You are dormant." My mind reels. Lunar Witch. The words are foreign, impossible. Yet they resonate with that strange, quiet stirring inside me, the silvery light that sometimes dances on my fingertips. "The medicine you have been making for me," she says, a faint smile on her lips. "The moon petals, the silver leaf. They are catalysts. They were not just for my sickness. They were awakening your magic slowly and safely. Your power is that of life, of restoration. You are a true healer." She closes her eyes, her strength fading. "The pendant, it will guide you. My son's kingdom is dying. A shadow is growing in the east, a blight that withers the land and sickens the people. It is the work of the Shadow Weavers, ancient enemies who hunt your kind. They sense your awakening. Only your magic can stop them." Her voice is barely a whisper now. "Forgive him, Illyra, not for his sake, but for yours, and for the sake of the people he is sworn to protect." Her hand goes limp in mine. Her last breath leaves her in a gentle sigh. The silence she leaves behind is absolute. Lyra, the exiled queen, is gone. I sit by her bedside for a long time, the cool weight of the pendant in my hand, a tangible link to a future I cannot comprehend. I am not a wolfless Omega. I am a lunar witch. The knowledge doesn't bring triumph, only a heavy, daunting sense of purpose. My peaceful life is over. A path I did not choose stretches out before me. A path that leads, inevitably, back to the man who cast me out. My wolf is silent. It has been for 3 years, not in the way an Omega's wolf is quiet and submissive, but in the way a predator goes still before it strikes. My name is Kaelin, and I am a king living in a ghost story of my own making. The ghost has no face, only a scent, ozone and stillness. A scent that haunts my days and torments my nights. I smell it on the wind, in the rain, in the cloying perfumes of the court ladies who try to catch my eye. None of them smell right. Their scents are ash and dust in my lungs. My court believes I am grieving for my mother, who they think passed a year after my coronation. In a way, I am, but I am also grieving for the mate I threw away. The moment I rejected her, a part of me broke. The bond, though I denied it, had taken root. Ripping it out left a festering wound that has never healed. My wolf, the beast that is the source of my strength and my crown, has turned on me. It paces the cage of my mind, a relentless, snarling presence. It blames me. It starves me of sleep, of peace, of the ability to connect with my own pack. Fool, it growls in the darkness behind my eyes. You broke us. You threw away our other half. I sit in my war council, listening to reports of the spreading blight. It started in the eastern farmlands, a creeping rot that turns fertile soil to black dust and chokes the life from the trees. Now, it encroaches on the heart of the kingdom. Our livestock fall ill. Our people are beginning to sicken with a malady our healers cannot name or cure. We are a kingdom in decline, and my pack feels it. They feel my weakness, my distraction. The Alpha King is not whole, and so the pack is not whole. My father taught me that a king must be ruthless, that he must project unwavering strength, but my strength feels like a hollow shell, and I live in constant fear that one day it will crack and they will all see the pathetic broken man inside. We need more healers, Your Majesty, Elder Thanes says, his face grim. Our remedies are useless against this plague. Send riders to the southern enclaves, I command, my voice harsher than I intend. Offer whatever they ask, gold, land. Just bring me someone who can stop this. I dismiss the council and retreat to my chambers. The opulent room feels like a prison. I stand on the balcony, staring out at the whispering woods, the same woods I cast her into. Did she survive? The question has been a constant, torturous refrain for 3 years. My wolf snarls, clawing at my insides. You left her to die, weak, alone, hours. I slam my fist against the stone balustrade, the sharp pain a welcome distraction from the agony in my soul. I rejected her to protect my line, to uphold my father's legacy of strength, but in doing so, I have damned us all. The kingdom withers, and I, its mighty king, am rotting from the inside out. I would give it all up, the crown, the power, the respect, for one more chance to breathe in her scent, to undo the most catastrophic mistake of my life. After burying Lyra beneath the roots of the great oak where we first met, I leave the cottage behind. The pendant rests against my skin, a cool, steady weight. It seems to hum with a faint energy, a quiet song that only I can hear. Following the pull of the pendant and Lyra's final words, I travel south, seeking answers about my heritage. My journey leads me to a hidden valley, home to a neutral enclave of healers, a place of peace where pack politics hold no sway. It is here I meet Lysander. He is one of the enclave's masters, a shifter whose wolf is as gentle as his hands. He has kind eyes the color of warm honey and a scent of sun-warmed earth and willow bark. When I arrive, weak and tired from my travels, he is the one who tends to me. He asks no questions about my past or my lack of a pack scent. He only sees a woman in need of rest and care. You have a rare gift, he says one afternoon, watching me tend to the enclave's herb gardens. The plants flourish under my touch, growing faster and more vibrant than in any other plot. There is a life force in you that calls to them. Hesitantly, I show him the pendant and tell him Lyra's story, omitting only Kalen's name. I speak of the lunar witches, of the magic I barely understand. Lysander listens with a quiet, reverent attention. He is not shocked. He is fascinated. The old tales spoke of your kind, he says, his voice soft with wonder. Guardians of the balance, your magic is not like the brute force of an alpha or the elemental fury of a pack shaman. It is the magic of life itself. Under his patient guidance, I begin to explore my power. He teaches me to focus my will, to draw on the energy of the moon and the living world around me. The silvery light that once flickered uncertainly now flows from my hands, a steady, healing stream. I learn to mend broken bones, to soothe fevers, to coax life back into withered plants. With Lysander, I feel seen. He values me for who I am, not for what I lack. He is kind where Kalen was cruel, patient where Kalen was demanding. He represents a life of peace, a safe harbor. A gentle affection grows between us, a stark contrast to the violent, all-consuming pull of the fated bond I once felt. Our quiet life is interrupted by the arrival of refugees from the north. They bring terrifying stories of Colin's kingdom, of a creeping black blight that poisons the earth and sickens the people. They speak of the king's desperation, his failure to protect his lands. As I listen, a cold dread settles in my stomach. This is the shadow Lyra spoke of, the shadow weavers, and they are hunting me. My awakening has drawn their attention, and they are using Kalen's kingdom as their hunting ground. One evening, a royal rider arrives at the enclave, his wolf exhausted, his face etched with desperation. He carries a proclamation from the Alpha King, a desperate plea for aid from any healer who can combat a plague that has no name. He offers a fortune in gold and land to anyone who can help. The Enclave's elders discuss the summons. It is a dangerous proposition. The Blight is magical in nature, and Kalen's kingdom is politically volatile. But I know I cannot refuse. These are Lyra's people. They are innocent. My past with Kalen does not absolve me of the responsibility that comes with my power. I will go, I announce, my voice clear and steady in the hushed silence of the council circle. Lysander looks at me, his honey-colored eyes filled with concern. You do not have to do this, Ilara. You owe him nothing. I owe him nothing, I agree, my hand instinctively going to the pendant at my throat. But I owe it to his mother, and I owe it to myself to face my past. I am no longer the broken Omega he cast aside. I am a lunar witch, and it is time the Alpha King saw what he threw away. Lysander nods, his expression somber. Then I will go with you. You will not face him alone. The journey back to the Blood Moon Pack is a journey into a dying land. Miles from the border, we see the first signs of the blight. The trees are skeletal, their leaves turn to black dust. The rivers run sluggish and gray. The air itself smells wrong, carrying a scent of decay and dark, twisted magic. The vibrant life I remember from the edges of the forest is gone, replaced by a grim, encroaching silence. The closer we get, the heavier the weight of my past presses down on me. When we arrive at the fortress, the guards at the gate look gaunt and fearful. The once proud sigil of the Blood Moon Pack seems tarnished. We are escorted directly to the throne room. As the great oaken doors swing open, my breath catches. The room is the same, yet utterly different. The grand tapestries seem faded, the fire in the hearth low and sullen. The pack members assembled there are not the vibrant, arrogant wolves I remember. They look worried, their energy muted and anxious. And then I see him. Kalen stands by his throne, not sitting on it. He is thinner than I remember, the sharp planes of his face more pronounced. There are shadows under his eyes, the storm-gray depths turbulent with exhaustion and a desperation he cannot hide. But the raw power is still there, coiled beneath the surface. He turns as we are announced, and his eyes find mine. The world narrows to the space between us. A bolt of lightning arcs across the room, unseen, but felt by everyone. The dormant, scarred bond shrieks to life, a sudden, violent agony that makes me gasp. I see the shock on his face, the raw, soul-deep recognition. He stumbles back a step, his hand going to his chest as if struck. The scent of him floods my senses, pine and winter, but now laced with the bitter tang of regret and sleepless nights. Mine, the ancient voice in my soul whispers, fierce and possessive. My human mind shoves it down, building walls of ice around my heart. My own scent has changed as well. It is no longer just the empty smell of ozone and stillness. Now, it is woven with the fragrance of moon petals, wild herbs, and the clean, cool power of my magic. I watch him inhale, watch his eyes widen as he takes in the new me. He sees not the scullery maid, but a woman who radiates a quiet, unshakable power. Lysander steps forward slightly, placing a subtle, protective hand on my arm. Kalen's eyes flick to the gesture, and a low, involuntary growl rumbles in his chest. The air in the throne room becomes so thick with tension it is hard to breathe. "You!" Kalen breathes, his voice rough with disbelief. He takes a step toward me, his hand outstretched. I hold up my own hand, stopping him in his tracks. My voice, when I speak, is cold and clear, devoid of the emotion churning within me. I am Ilara, of the Southern Healing Enclave. You summoned a healer, King Kalen. I have answered your call. I purposefully use his title, creating a chasm of formality between us. I am not his mate. I am not his omega. I am a professional here to do a job. The power dynamic has been irrevocably inverted. He is the one who is desperate, and I am the one with the power to save him. The look of stunned, agonizing realization on his face is a small, bitter taste of justice. I demand a tour of the afflicted lands. My tone, all business. Kalen, looking like a man sleepwalking through a nightmare, can only nod his assent. He leads the way himself, with Lysander and a retinue of guards trailing behind us. The silence between us is a living entity, filled with 3 years of unspoken pain and regret. He keeps glancing at me, his expression a chaotic mix of awe, hope, and self-loathing. I keep my own face a cool, impassive mask, focusing only on the task at hand. We reach a field that was once a thriving orchard. Now the apple trees are gnarled, black skeletons. The ground is cracked and dusty, emanating a palpable aura of corruption. The scent of decay is thick in the air. The guards murmur nervously, unwilling to step further into the blighted land. Our healers have tried everything, Kalen says, his voice strained. Nothing works. It just keeps spreading. I walk to the edge of the rot, closing my eyes and extending my senses. I can feel the dark magic, a parasitic entity feeding on the life force of the earth. It is cold and hungry. I kneel, placing my palm flat against the dead ground. Lysander watches me, his face a mixture of concern and encouragement. Focusing my will, I draw on my power. I pull the cool, clean energy of the moon, a concept stored in my very being, and channel it through my arm into the soil. A soft, silvery light emanates from my hand, spreading outwards in gentle ripples. The ground beneath my palm begins to tremble. The black dust shivers, and slowly, miraculously, a tiny green sprout pushes its way through the corrupted earth. It grows with impossible speed, unfurling two perfect leaves, glowing with vibrant life. A collective gasp comes from the guards. I look up and meet Colin's eyes. They are wide with utter astonishment, and something else, something that looks dangerously like worship. He stares at my hand, then at my face, as if seeing me for the first time. He sees the power I wield, the life I command. He sees the woman I have become in spite of him. I rise to my feet, brushing the now clean dirt from my knees. The blight is magical. It requires a magical solution, I state calmly, my voice betraying none of the effort the act took. I can stop it, but I will require full authority over your healers, unrestricted access to all parts of your kingdom, and a guarantee of non-interference from you and your council. I look him directly in the eye, my gaze unwavering. These are my terms. Take them or leave them. He doesn't hesitate. Anything, he says, his voice thick with emotion. I will give you anything. The new dynamic is set. I am the one in command. He the desperate supplicant. I have his kingdom and his future in the palm of my hand. The bitter satisfaction of it is a cold comfort against the ever-present ache of the bond that still ties my soul to his. We are forced to work together. Days are spent in the blighted fields, where I lead teams of healers, teaching them how to create poultices that can hold back the corruption while I focus my energy on the larger task of cleansing the land. Evenings are spent in the War Council, where I give clipped professional reports, and Kalen listens with a desperate, hungry attention that unnerves me. He agrees to every demand, grants every request. He is trying so hard to prove he has changed, but I keep the walls around my heart fortified with the memory of his cruelty. The forced proximity is a unique form of torture for us both. The reignited bond is a constant thrum of energy between us. I can feel his emotions as if they were my own. The crushing weight of his regret. The fierce, desperate hope that flickers whenever I look in his direction. The raw jealousy that flashes in his eyes whenever Lysander stands too close to me. I, in turn, fight a constant battle with my own instincts. The ancient voice inside me purrs with satisfaction at his suffering, at his submission. Ours, it growls. He learns. He begs. I ignore it, focusing on the cold, hard logic of my task. One night, after a long day of pushing back a particularly stubborn patch of blight, I am in the castle library, researching ancient texts for any mention of the Shadow Weavers. The library is my sanctuary, a place of quiet that reminds me of my cottage with Lyra. The door creaks open, and Kalen enters. He looks haggard, his royal finery rumpled. He has clearly not been sleeping. I need to speak with you, he says, his voice low. I do not look up from my book. I am busy, Your Majesty. Please, Ilara, he says, and the raw plea in his voice makes my resolve flicker. He walks closer, stopping on the other side of the heavy oak table. We cannot go on like this. This silence between us. There is nothing to say, I reply, my voice ice cold. We have a business arrangement. I am healing your land. Once my work is done, I will leave. No. The word is a choked sound. He braces his hands on the table, his knuckles white. I was a fool. An arrogant, terrified fool. I was a new king, barely older than a boy, trying to live up to my father's brutal legacy. He taught me that our line's purity was everything. He taught me that any sign of weakness was a cancer to be cut out. When the bond struck, all I could see was what you lacked, a wolf. I thought, I thought you would weaken my bloodline, weaken my rule. His wolf is a frantic, desperate thing, clawing at the surface of his control. I can feel its need, its yearning for me, crashing against my shields. Listen, it begs. He suffers. He knows. It was pride, Kalen continues, his voice cracking, and it was fear. I was afraid of the bond, afraid of the power a mate would have over me. So I did the most monstrous thing I could imagine. I tried to destroy it. I tried to destroy you, in front of everyone, to prove how strong I was. His head drops, and a shudder runs through his powerful frame. And in doing so, I proved I was the weakest of them all. I have lived in hell every day for 3 years, Ilara. A hell of my own making. The silence from my own wolf, the ache where you should be. It is a constant punishment, and I deserve it. I deserve all of it. He finally looks up, and the agony in his storm gray eyes is so profound it steals my breath. I am not asking for your forgiveness. I know I have not earned it. I am not asking you to honor the bond. I forfeited that right. I am just asking you to know that the man who hurt you, he is not the man who stands before you today. He died that night, and this repentant wretch was born from his ashes. He turns and leaves the library without another word, leaving me in a deafening silence. His confession hangs in the air, raw and bleeding. He offered no excuses, only the unvarnished, shameful truth. For the first time in 3 years, a tiny crack appears in the ice around my heart. It is not forgiveness, not yet, but it is a start. My name is Kaylin, and I have just laid my worthless, shattered soul at her feet. Walking away from her in that library was the hardest thing I have ever done, harder than any battle, harder than facing down my own counsel. My wolf is howling inside me, a storm of fury and despair. Not enough, it snarls. Words are wind. She needs proof. It is right. I know it is right. My confession means nothing without action. I have acknowledged her pain, but I have not yet submitted to her judgment. The next day, I find her in the gardens with Lysander. He is showing her a technique for shielding, their hands clasped together, a gentle energy flowing between them. A possessive, ugly rage, so powerful it makes me see red, surges through me. My wolf wants to rip him apart, to tear him away from her. I wrestle the beast back into its cage, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. I have no right to this jealousy. I gave up that right. I wait until the healer leaves, my heart pounding a frantic rhythm against my ribs. I approach her slowly, deliberately. She watches me come, her expression unreadable, her power a cool, calm aura around her. She is so magnificent, so much more than the queen I could have ever dreamed of. And I threw her away for nothing. When I'm a few feet away from her, I stop. Then, I do the one thing an alpha king is never supposed to do. I drop to my knees in the soft earth of the garden. I lower my head, baring the vulnerable line of my throat in the ultimate gesture of submission. The pack members tending the gardens gasp, freezing in their work. Let them watch. Let them all see the truth. Alara, I say, my voice rough, my eyes fixed on the ground before her feet. My confession last night was only words. I am here now to offer you the truth in action. I was your king, and I failed you. I was your mate, and I betrayed you. I submit myself to your judgment, completely and without condition. I can feel her shock. It radiates from her in waves. If you wish for me to step down as alpha, I will do it, I continue, each word tearing a piece from my pride, but cleansing a piece of my soul. If you wish for me to be exiled, as I exiled you, I will go. If you wish for my life, it is yours to take. My only request is that you stay and save my people from the blight that I, through my weakness, allowed to take root. I close my eyes, offering her my throat, my life, my future. My fate is in your hands. I offer you complete freedom, Ilara. The freedom to choose your path, even if that path leads you 1,000 miles away from me, forever. I will not stop you. I will not object. Your happiness and your safety are all that matter now. The silence stretches on, thick and heavy. I wait for her verdict, for the cold words of my banishment or the sharp edge of a blade. I wait for my sentence, ready to accept any punishment she deems just. This is my grovel, not a plea to win her back, but a genuine surrender to her will. A final, absolute acknowledgement of the power she has always held over me. I remain on my knees, my neck bared, the scent of the damp earth filling my senses. I feel the weight of every eye in the garden, but the only presence that matters is hers. I can feel the cool aura of her power, a silent storm of indecision and shock. A part of me, the arrogant king I once was, screams at the humiliation of this moment. But the larger part, the man who has been hollowed out by regret, finds a strange peace in this submission. For the first time in 3 years, my wolf is quiet. It is not a resentful silence, but a watchful one. This is right, it murmurs. This is the beginning. Finally, I hear footsteps. Not hers, but Lysander's. He has returned. Ilara, he says, his voice gentle but firm. I do not lift my head. This is between me and her. I saw what he did, Lysander continues softly, speaking only to her. The bond between you. It is not something I can fight. It is not something I should fight. It is a force of nature, a fire that was meant to burn. He has hurt you, terribly, but the man kneeling in the dirt is not the king who sent you away. I hear a soft sigh from Ilara. It is a sound of immense weariness. I came here to heal you, to show you that you were worthy of kindness and respect, Lysander says. But your destiny is larger than the peace our enclave can offer. The fate of this kingdom is tied to you and to him. I cannot be your safe harbor when your destiny is to be the eye of the storm. And I will not be your second choice, a comfortable place to rest while your soul calls for another. His voice is filled with a sad, noble resignation. My path lies to the south. Yours lies here. Heal this land, Ilara, and heal yourself. You deserve a love that is absolute, whichever one you choose. I hear his footsteps retreat, leaving Ilara and me alone in the charged silence. He has just given her the same freedom I did, but from a place of kindness, not penance. He has gracefully and with dignity removed himself, leaving the choice, stark and unavoidable, in her hands. Get up, Kylan, she says at last. Her voice is not warm, but the ice has thawed. It is simply tired. I slowly rise to my feet, my muscles aching. I finally meet her eyes. The confusion and pain are still there, but there is something else now, a flicker of grudging respect. Your submission is noted, she says. Her tone formal, but her gaze intense. My decision is not yet made. Right now, we have a more pressing enemy. She turns and points towards the east, where the sky seems unnaturally dark, even in the midday sun. The blight is not just a creeping plague, it is a weapon, and it has a heart. I can feel it now, a source of immense power, buried deep beneath this castle. That is where we will find the leader of the Shadow Weavers. That is where we will end this. Her words galvanize me. She has not forgiven me. She has not chosen me. But she has offered me a chance to fight alongside her. It is more than I deserve. Then let us end it, I say, my voice steady for the first time in years. Together, we follow the pull of the dark energy, descending into the catacombs beneath the castle, a place of dust and forgotten history. The air grows colder, thicker, the scent of decay overwhelming. The pendant at Alara's throat begins to glow, its silvery light a beacon in the oppressive darkness, pushing back the shadows that seem to writhe at the edges of our vision. I walk beside her, my sword drawn, my senses on high alert. My wolf is awake now, not fighting me, but working with me, a silent partner in the hunt. Protect, guard, ours. We enter a vast circular cavern. In the center, a massive black heart stone pulses with a sickening purple light. Veins of the same dark energy spread from it like roots, burrowing into the foundations of the castle and the kingdom beyond. Standing before it is a tall, gaunt figure cloaked in shadow, his face pale and cruel. He turns as we enter, a slow reptilian smile spreading across his lips. The lunar witch, he hisses, his voice like the slithering of snakes. At last, I am Lord Malachor. I have been waiting for you. Your power sings to me. You are poisoning this land, Alara states, her voice ringing with a power that makes the very stones vibrate. She radiates a pure, white light, a stark contrast to the corrupted energy of the Heartstone. I am remaking it in my image, Malachor sneers. But you do not have to be my enemy. Your power is that of life. Mine is that of shadow and decay. Together, we could be gods. Why serve this broken king who cast you out? Join me. Let us drain this world of its chaotic life and build a new, orderly one from its ashes. He extends a hand, his fingers like skeletal twigs. Ilara's expression is one of utter disgust. I would rather die. A pity, Malachor sighs. With a flick of his wrist, a whip of pure shadow lashes out, not at me, but at her. Time slows down. I see the whip coming, a ribbon of absolute darkness that I know will not just harm her, but extinguish her light. My body moves without thought, without hesitation. There is no calculation, no consideration for my own life. There is only a single, primal command from my wolf and my soul. Protect, mate. I throw myself in front of her. The shadow whip strikes my back, and the world explodes in agony. It is not a physical pain, but a spiritual one. It feels like my life force is being siphoned out of me, a soul-deep cold that extinguishes all warmth. I cry out, collapsing to my knees, the strength draining from my limbs. I can feel the dark magic spreading through my veins like ice. Kaelin! Ilara's scream is filled with a terror and anguish that cuts through the haze of my pain. I look up at her, my vision blurring. I manage to turn just enough to see her face. The walls of ice around her heart have not just cracked, they have been vaporized. In her eyes, I see not a healer, not a queen, but my mate, looking at her other half as he is dying. Foolish Alpha, Malachor laughs. You have only delayed the inevitable. He raises his hand to strike again. But Alara is no longer looking at him. She is looking at me, at the life fading from my eyes. And in that moment, she makes her choice. Not because I am dying, not out of pity, but because my sacrifice was the final, irrefutable proof she needed. It was the action that gave meaning to all my worthless words. She drops to her knees beside me, her hands framing my face. The silvery light of her power surrounds us, a protective dome against Malikor's darkness. No, she whispers, her voice shaking but filled with a will of iron. You will not die. You are mine. Her lips meet mine. It is not a kiss of passion, but of transference, an acceptance, a completion. I feel her magic pour into me, not just healing, but bonding. The shattered link between us fuses together, not as it was, but as something new, something stronger, forged in pain and sealed by sacrifice. The bond flares to life, a supernova in my soul. My wolf howls in triumph. Her power, pure and life-giving, burns away the shadow magic in my veins, replacing the chilling cold with a radiant warmth. Strength floods back into my limbs. Mine, the ancient voice whispers in her soul. And this time, I hear it too, an echo in my own. Ours, my wolf answers, its voice twined with hers. We rise together, no longer two separate beings, but a single, united front. Her silvery lunar magic now crackles around my hands, and my raw alpha strength now grounds her power, giving it a devastating focus. We are more than the sum of our parts. We are a balance of life and power, of moon and wolf. Malikor stares, his arrogance finally cracking to reveal a flicker of fear. Impossible! You prey on the broken and the divided, Alara says, her voice resonating with our combined power. But we are not broken anymore. I let out a roar, a true alpha's challenge amplified by her magic, and it shakes the cavern to its foundations. We move as one. I charge, a whirlwind of claws and fury, drawing his attention, while Ilara raises her hands, gathering a sphere of pure, blinding moonlight. While he is focused on me, she unleashes it. The beam of light strikes the corrupted heartstone. It screams, a high, piercing shriek of dissolving magic. Malikor shrieks with it, as his power is tied to the stone. He dissolves into a cloud of scattering shadows, his last curse swallowed by the purifying light. The heartstone cracks, the purple glow fading, replaced by a soft, healthy white light. The veins of darkness retreat from the walls, and a wave of pure, clean energy rushes up from the catacombs and out into the kingdom. We can feel it through our bond. The blight receding, the land breathing a sigh of relief, the life returning. In the quiet aftermath, we stand in the soft glow of the purified heartstone, breathing heavily. I turn to her, my heart too full for words. The bond between us is a palpable thing now, a calm, steady river of warmth and connection. There are no more walls between us. I can feel her relief, her exhaustion, and the deep, resonant love that she had kept locked away for so long. I reach out, my hand trembling slightly, and gently cup her cheek. Ilara, I whisper, my voice thick with unshed tears. She leans into my touch, her eyes closing for a moment. Kaelin, she replies, and the way she says my name is a balm to my scarred soul. We ascend from the catacombs, hand in hand, and emerge into the throne room. The assembled pack members, who had been huddled in fear, stare at us in stunned silence. They can see the change. They can feel the shift in power. The land is healed, the king is whole, and a queen stands beside him, not behind him. The next morning, I call the entire pack to the Great Hall, the very site of her humiliation. I stand before them on the dais, but this time, Ilara is at my side, her hand in mine. She wears no crown, but she holds herself with a regal grace that no gold could ever bestow. 3 years ago, in this very hall, I committed the greatest crime of my reign. I begin, my voice ringing with an authority that is no longer hollow. I rejected my fated mate. I broke my sacred bond. I allowed fear and pride to rule me, and in doing so, I nearly destroyed this pack and this kingdom. A murmur of shock runs through the crowd. I hold up a hand for silence. My weakness brought the blight upon us. My arrogance left us defenseless. I continue, meeting the eyes of my pack members, forcing them to see my shame. It was not I who saved you. It was the mate I cast aside. Ilara, a descendant of the lunar witches, whose magic is the lifeblood of this land, has healed us. Her power, her courage, and her grace saved us all from the darkness I invited. I turn to her, my heart in my eyes. And so, before you all, I reverse my declaration. I undo my rejection. I claim Ilara, not just as my mate, but as my queen, my partner, and my equal in all things. We will rule together, or not at all. I kneel before her, taking her hand and pressing it to my lips, if she will have me. Ilara looks out over the sea of faces, her expression calm and strong. Then she looks down at me, and a slow, beautiful smile spreads across her face. It is the first true smile I have seen from her since the moment our eyes first met. She gently tugs my hand, urging me to my feet. I will, she says, her voice clear and strong for all to hear. We will. The pack, silent for a moment, erupts into a deafening roar of approval. It is not the sound of mindless celebration from that first feast. It is a sound of hope, of relief, of a pack made whole again, stronger and more united than ever before. 6 months later, we stand on the balcony of our chambers, looking out over a kingdom that is thriving once more. The fields are green, the forests are lush, and the people are healthy and happy. The scars of the blight are fading, just as our own scars are beginning to heal. Her presence has changed everything. She rules with a compassionate wisdom that complements my strength, and our people love her for it. She leans against me, and I wrap my arms around her, pulling her close. The bond between us is a constant, gentle hum of contentment. I no longer have to guess at her feelings. I can feel them intertwined with my own. The pain of the past is not forgotten. It is a part of our story, a testament to the depth of the wound and the strength of our healing. It is a reminder to me, every single day, to be a man worthy of her. She tilts her head back to look at me, her eyes, the color of starlight on a clear night, full of a love I still feel I have not fully earned, but will spend the rest of my life trying to. What are you thinking about? She asks softly. I breathe in her scent, the perfect, unique fragrance of moon petals, wild herbs, and Ilara. It is the scent of my home, my heart, my redemption. I was just thinking, I murmur, pressing a kiss to her temple, that for the first time in my life, everything smells right.